This is Jim with Pour the Juice, and today we're doing a Stagg blind. It's a very good day for me. It's one of my favorite whiskeys that I own. It's one of the whiskeys that really got me into collecting, into trying high proof whiskeys, at least bourbons. Um, and for last year's batches, I was able to get the A, B, and C. I unfortunately was not able to get my hands on the D batch. But I figured since I do have A, B, and C, I might as well put them up in a blind. Again, I'm going to be using these aged in oak. I don't remember the name of it. But these have little A, little B, little C on the tags. I'm going to put them upside down so I don't know exactly what they are. If I can get it on there. And luckily for me, Stagg made it pretty easy. I have A, B, and C. I have A, B, and C batches. So A will be Stagg batch A. I always spill it. Always spill a little bit. B will be batch B. I think I poured a little bit more in that one, but it's all right. Maybe I'll go back. Wow, I'm terrible at pouring this one. And then Stagg batch C will be in the C spot. Now, I do want to give a little inside baseball here. Those baseball fans will understand that reference. For those who don't, just means a little behind the scenes. And for me, behind the scenes on this video means that unfortunately, I already filmed this one. Wow, that smells fantastic already. I filmed this exact Stagg video, a couple weeks ago, which is why coming out in March, this may seem a little late. But I filmed the same video in mid-February, maybe early February, and then realized 3/4 of the way through that I forgot to wear my microphone, and the sound quality was going to be awful. So I decided not to post it, and here I am again. But that's okay. At that time, I had only had the 24A batch for a week or so. I had fresh cracked it right before doing that video. So, you know, it's been given quite a bit more time now, and maybe it's opened up, and maybe the rest of them have opened up too. I don't know if I want to say the order that those came in, just because I don't want to jinx it, but maybe I should. So if you don't want to know, I would fast forward like 10 seconds because I'm going to say it like right now. Right when I put my hand up, I'm going to say it. Stagg 24A came in first. C second. B came in third place. I hope you're back now. So yeah, I'm just going to get into it. I remembered my water cup this time, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to go from my right to my left like I usually do. I'm going to smell them all first and see which one I like the best on the nose. This one already smells great. Stagg to me always has a fruitier nose, and the gray ones have a fruitier palate too. A lot of people get that cherry cola taste on their palate, which I do love on some batches. But I've had some Staggs that have tasted like fresh fruit, fresh blueberries I got on a store pick once, and that is my favorite taste I've ever gotten off a whiskey. So this is getting that, just smells like Buffalo Trace to me. It's a little grapey, a little fresh cherry. Grapey's a little Laffy Taffy, but it also goes into like a cherry cola. It's light though, light cherry cola on that one. It smells great. It's not a bad smell by any means. Let's go into this second glass. It's a little bit lighter on the nose. This is also going to be my first bourbon of the day, so it's probably going to fight me a little bit. Getting more vanilla on this. Much more reserved on the nose, though. More vanilla. Brown sugar. This one looks a bit more velvety. I don't know if that's going to mean anything. The nose is not as muted as the last one. It's a little bit more fruity, not as fruity as the first. I'm going to arrange these. This being my favorite nose, this being my least favorite nose. This being somewhere in the middle. Getting more apple on this than I am grape, but let's see. Start back in this glass. See what kind of flavors we get off it. It smells great, especially compared to the other ones. And all Staggs, pretty much every Stagg I've ever had smells great. But even compared to the other two Staggs, this one kind of leaps out. Oh yeah. That's fantastic. Cherry cola, brown sugar, vanilla, a little bit of that Buffalo Trace grape, and a little bit of oak tannins at the end. This is a fantastic Stagg. Whichever one it is, it opened up quite well. Because this is better than I remember it tasting when I did this video about a month ago. It was really great. Let's try it. This one in comparison to it. The nose on this is dwarfed compared to that first glass. This one is immediately coming off tannic. There is some fruit there, but high on bitterness. Very high on bitterness. And that happens to me when I compare, especially high proof whiskeys next to each other. Quality really starts to stand out for me, in my opinion, between two whiskeys. And by quality, I mean a sweeter whiskey versus a more tannic, bitter whiskey. If I just tasted this by itself, or I tasted this first, I would have a much more positive opinion on it right now. But because I just tasted it directly after this glass, it's something I wouldn't reach for. Let's go for this one. And so this glass, I actually enjoy a little bit more than the second one, so I'm going to move it up like this. But the flavor that I got the most in this glass Very tannic as well. But the flavor I'm getting the most is almost a medicinal cherry. That's what's kind of jumping out at me from this one. I'll take a sip of my water. A lot of bitter tannin on my tongue from those last two glasses. And I want to start out at a base level to go back through this way and just see if this one really stands out that much in comparison at the tail end of a tasting. It's a great time to say. If you could, and you're enjoying this, please hit like, please subscribe. It does help me out. I would appreciate it. And please comment below. There's been a few newer whiskeys that have dropped recently. A ton of stuff coming out from like Penelope and that new Jack 14 came out. I don't know if I'm gonna get my hands on that, but I'm gonna try. If there's anything that you want to see any videos on, review, if you want to see it on a blind, whatever you'd really like to know, like to see a review on, please leave a comment. Let me know. All right. I'll go back through this way now. Still have a little bit of a bitterness on my tongue, but I don't want to take up more time than what this video is going to anyway, because every time I do a blind, it ends up going long. But this batch is a little rough. I did my video on, is Stagg still worth it? And to me, bar none it is. Even this batch that I'm saying isn't that great right now. If I just pulled this off the shelf and I didn't compare it to some of the other bitter batches and just drank it next to another $60 whiskey, this would still be standing out. But just when you compare it, if you compare a great Stagg batch to a not so great Stagg batch, there is a huge discrepancy there. Let me start this. So starting with this, I do get some more fruit. I get a little cinnamon. I get vanilla. I get more baking spices. The fruit that I'm getting is cherry more than anything else. And the bitterness comes across, but it's not as strong as it was. When I tried this glass after trying this one first, the initial flavor that I got off it was bitterness, immense bitterness. And to me, usually that means that it's just because this is overpoweringly sweet. So any bitterness that's on this is going to be exemplified. And I think that's what happened now is I got a little bitterness off of it, but not nearly as much. So yeah, let's try this one. The nose is so muted on this. It's crazy. For like 120 whatever proof whiskey. And a Stagg of that. Usually Staggs are jumping out of the glass. This one's not. Sweeter though. Sweeter than this glass. Get some grape in there. I believe I said medicinal cherry on that last time, and that's still the case. It's like a sweeter medicinal cherry, and that the tannins are creeping in on it, just like it did last time as well. This is tough. I do think this is a better batch than this one is in comparison to each other. And this one is just on the nose again. This one is kind of jumping out of the glass. Sweet, sweet, sweet fruit. Yeah. I hardly get any tannins on that. Very, very little at the end. I get that cherry cola. And now I actually am getting some tannins. This is tough. This is very tough. Anytime I do a blind with higher proof whiskeys, after a couple sips, it really starts to hit me hard. Any tannin that's in there hits me hard. This one. This is still my favorite nose. It's still my favorite palate, as far as I think it is. Yeah. I'm gonna try this one following up just to be 100% sure. This one, whatever glass this is my least favorite. Yeah, it's not as good as this glass. All right, this is gonna be the order. Let's see what last place is. Last place is B. 24B. Now, that's exactly what it was last time. Let's see if this is still the same order as second place. C, which means first place is A. This is the same order that I came in the last time I did this video that I did not release because of my own stupidity. So yeah, definitively for me, B was the worst batch of the 24 batches, and A was the best batch of the 24 batches. I think A is a pretty good batch in general for Stagg. I think B is probably one of the worst Staggs that I've had. Not saying anything about it. You know, if I saw it on a shelf for 65 bucks, would I still buy it? Absolutely. But I would be wary for any B batches in the future. This is the second year in a row, or 2 out of 3 years where the B batches weren't great. I know 22A was fantastic. And then I believe it was 23B that wasn't great. Or maybe it was 22B. I don't remember. One of those wasn't fantastic. And this 24B really, at secondary price, I don't think I would pick it up. I think in my previous video, talking about Stagg and his Stagg worth, that I mentioned that I'd pick up any of these at secondary. I don't know if I would pick this one up at not, you know, even 120. I don't think it's worth that. 80 bucks for me. If it's a 24B and it's above 100, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not going to pick that up. You know, 24A, yeah, sure. 120 bucks. I'd be happy to own another one. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Till next time, cheers.